For today's headlines, government eyes new normal roadmap by early March. Go sends assistance to struggling residents in Panglao, Bohol. Fuel prices hike anew. DENR MOEJ to hold first Phl-Japan Environmental Week. Veggie farmers intensify efforts versus smuggling. Singson ready for SEA Games eliminations. Trudeau invokes emergency powers to quell Canada protests. Good morning, I am Venice Bautista and you are watching Tribune News on Q. Today is February 15, 2022, and here are the latest news of this Tuesday morning. The government is eyeing to finish the development of a new normal roadmap by early March as the Philippines slides down to a low-risk classification amid the continuous decline in new coronavirus infections. Presidential Advisor for COVID-19 Response Vince Dizon said late Monday night that members of the National Task Force and the Health Department are preparing the roadmap and increasing the number of vaccinated people in the provinces. He did not elaborate the details of the roadmap, but said it would signal our move towards some semblance of normalcy 2 years after the first coronavirus case detected in the country. Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles previously said that many components of the new normal roadmap were included in the 10-point action plan of the National Economic and Development Authority. The action plan, he had said, would build the confidence of the public by reporting pandemic-related metrics and protect Filipinos through vaccination and expanding the country's health system capacity, among others. Dizon noted that ramping up the state's efforts in areas with low vaccination turnout, such as Mimaropa, Bicol region, the Caraga, and the Bangsamoro region, would be necessary in attaining the new normal. The Philippines coronavirus risk classification is down from moderate to low risk, according to Health Secretary Francisco Duque III. He said the country posted a negative 2-week growth rate of negative 74% and an average daily attack rate of 5.26 per 100,000 individuals. The Philippines has so far tallied 3.63 coronavirus cases since the outbreak began, of which 76,609 were undergoing treatment and 3.5 million have recovered and 55,094 have died. Committed to helping more vulnerable sectors bearing the brunt of the pandemic across the country, Senator Christopher Bongo assisted over 100 struggling residents in Panglao, Bohol on Friday, February 11, as he reassured them of continued government support amid the global health crisis. Chair of the Senate Committee on Health and Demography, Go urged the 114 beneficiaries at the Panglao Municipal Gym to prioritize their health and get inoculated once eligible. In a video message, he remarked that the government continues to roll out free COVID-19 vaccines to the public to ensure that more Filipinos are protected from the virus. Continuing his remarks, Go lauded the government agencies that also extended assistance to the residents. In addition, Go offered to help those with medical needs. He also encouraged them to visit the malasakit centers at Governor Celestino Gallares Memorial Hospital in Tagbilaran City and Don Emilio del Valle Memorial Hospital in Ubay. To improve the public service delivery in the province, Go, who also serves as vice chair of the Senate Committee on Finance, supported the construction of farm-to-market roads in Bienunido, construction of bridge connecting Talibon and Bienunido, and the installation of a coin-operated water system in Pitogo. Go ended his message by thanking all the local officials who continue serving their constituents, especially during these challenging times. Local pump prices are on a steady hike for the 7th straight week as global prices continue to skyrocket. Major oil companies on Monday announced a 1.05 pesos per liter increase in diesel and a 1.2 pesos per liter hike in gasoline starting tomorrow, February 15. The oil firms also raised the kerosene prices to 0.65 peso per liter for the rest of the week. Fuel firms usually announce price adjustments every Monday to be implemented morning on the following day. But before the price increase, the Department of Energy said that the year-to-date adjustment stood at a total net increase of 6.75 pesos per liter for gasoline, 9.15 pesos per liter for diesel, and 8.45 pesos per liter for kerosene since January. Meanwhile, the threat of a Russian invasion of Ukraine is shaking up a fragile global oil market. Russia is the world's third largest oil producer, and if a conflict in Ukraine leads to a substantial decrease in the flow of Russian barrels to market, which would be dangerous for the right balance between supply and demand. In anticipation of the disruption that the conflict may cause, Secretary Alfonso G. Cusi said the DOE has already convened a preparatory meeting last February 3 with refiners, importers, and own users to discuss the directive of the DOE in ensuring that individual oil companies have a secured supply contract in 2022. Oil companies are mandated to secure full-year supply contracts of crude oil for refinery and finished petroleum products for all importers. Tribune News on Q will be back. Stay with us.
Paano magpakilig ang katribo? Kilig tip number 3. Mag-ala cooking show sa iyong bahay. Pagluto mo naman ang iyong mister. Hindi yung puro prito lang ang alam mo lutuin. Happy Hearts Day, katribo!
Si Harry Roque ang pinakamagaling na spokesman, kaya inggit sa kanya ang oposisyon.
Tama lang na ipinaglaban ko ang balik trabaho para bumalik ang kita ng mga nagtatrabaho at naghahanap buhay. Hindi pwedeng magutom ang pamilya. Dapat lang po ingat buhay para sa hanap buhay. Basta trabaho, kita at hanap buhay ang nakataya. Nasa harap niyo po ako.
Ibigay natin ang tudong suporta kay Harry.
Mga impormasyong direktang makukuha mula sa sources at diretsahang usapan. Yan ang ating daming sa inyo sa programang Straight Talk. Samahan nyo kami sa makabuluhang talakayan live tuwing Martes alas 10 ng umaga sa official Facebook page ng Daily Tribune at Tribune Now on YouTube. Alamin ang latest entertainment at sa mga paborito nyong celebrities kasama si Pocholo Concepcion sa programang What's Up. Makibanding at kwentuhan kasama ang mga kilalang personalidad sa entertainment industry. Sama-sama natin silang kilalanin at silipin ang makulay nilang mundo every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Kaya sit back and relax lang kayo mga katribu. Hanapin at ilike ang Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube. Dahil sagot na namin ang masayang kwentuhan dito lang sa What's Up. Non-stop showbiz update ba ang hanap nyo? Sagot na yan ang aming Tribune Extra. Balitang entertainment at lifestyle, mapa-local man o international, meron kami yan. Manood at makichika na kasama si Kim Sancha, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 5 ng hapon sa Tribune News on Q at separate premiere nito ng alas 7:30 ng gabi. Mapapanood sa Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube.
Resources or DENR and the Ministry of the Environment Japan or MOEJ organized the first ever Philippines-Japan Environmental Week to discuss environmental issues and share opportunities for cooperation towards a decarbonized infrastructure and society. DENR Secretary Roy A. Simatu said the event will pave the way for new opportunities for strengthened partnerships as he cited the Philippines-Japan partnership over the past years, particularly on environmental innovation, development, and waste management policy. The event, which will be held online, is expected to convene around 1,000 participants from the public and private sector, research and academic institutions, international and regional organizations, and non-government organizations from March 2 to 4, 2022. Moreover, Simatu said the participants will earn or learn and benefit from the technical presentations and lectures on environmental solutions and sustainable development. The bilateral environmental policy dialogue will be held on March 2 to discuss critical environmental issues such as climate change and waste management and strategies to enhance cooperation between both countries. Plenary sessions will be conducted on March 3 on action toward decarbonized and resilient society and city-to-city collaboration, and online webinars on climate change, transparency improvement, and climate adaptation. The event is also supported by the Embassy of Japan in the Philippines, Japan International Cooperation Agency, Business for Sustainable Development, and the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Now, with the continuous flooding of the smuggled vegetables in some markets in the country, farmers and traders in Benguet and nearby areas conducted a caravan along the streets of Benguet to denounce vegetable smuggling. On Monday, highland vegetable farmers and traders and supporters assembled in various vegetable trading areas in La Trinidad, Benguet, and converged along the Pico Road and paraded to Pugis Road and the Buyagan area before going to the Benguet provincial capital. After airing their grievances to the provincial capital, the farmers and traders went to Halsema Highway that serves as a main route of farmers in transporting their vegetable products. They then proceeded to the La Trinidad Vegetable Trading Post for the tarpaulin signing denouncing the continuing vegetable smuggling despite their many appeal to the government and concerned agencies to curb the practice. According to the League of Associations at La Trinidad Vegetable Trading Post, smuggled carrots were spotted at the Visoria Market in Tondo, Manila, and also in the market of Sariaya, Quezon. The League said the entry of the carrots from China is not allowed in the international free trade agreements like the General Agreement on Tariff and Trade World Trade Market Agreement, among others. It also stressed that fresh carrots and cabbages are not included in the list of the Bureau of Plant and Industry of allowed vegetables from China to enter the country. Agot Balanoy of the League, meanwhile, said that they are really disappointed on the seemingly inaction of Benguet officials and concerned agencies and also criticized the interagency task force led by the Department of Agriculture for not acting on the issue. She said that they have done nothing considering that a Senate investigation on vegetable smuggling has started and there are non-stop complaints from them and other affected stakeholders. For our sports news, regular workouts and routine practice rounds at Apo have kept Mafi Singson fit and in shape during the extended break in amateur golf due to pandemic, making her ready when the Southeast Asian Games national team eliminations get going at the Luisita Golf and Country Club in Tarlac. The grueling two-part eliminations will kick off on 25 to 27 of February at the well-kept Tarlac layout, where the likes of Bianca Pagdanganan, Luis K. Go, and Abby Arevalo dominated the regional field to sweep the individual and team gold medals in the 2019 edition of the biennial meet. But with the power-hitting Pagdanganan now in the LPGA Tour and Arevalo chasing her own pro dream in other U.S. circuits, the Philippines will have a lot of building up and toughening up to do to put a truly formidable squad in the coming SEA Games in Hanoi, Vietnam. The staging of the 31st edition of the regional games was originally set late last year but was moved to 12 to 23 of the May since the global pandemic crisis, particularly in the rising COVID-19 case numbers in Vietnam. Tribune News on Q will be back after these reminders.
This public service advisory is brought to you by Daily Tribune and 100.3 RJFM.
Oh, vaccination, isolation. Gotta keep up with my nutrition. Gotta maintain my body condition. Then I can take my vaccination. What do I choose? What do I take? As long as it is not a fake. AstraZeneca, Moderna, BioNTech, even Sinovac, okay na. Babakuna ka ba? 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 Vaccination for the nation, no more isolation. With vaccination. Babakuna ka ba? 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 Paturok, paturok, paturok.
This public service advisory is brought to you by Daily Tribune and 100.3 RJFM. Makinig at makisali sa usapan every Friday night at 6 p.m. sa I Speak Katribu Podcast. Samahan sina Daniel at Alvin na pag-usapan ang mga relevant topic na tiyak kakarelatean nyo mga katribu. At pagdating ng Sunday at 7 p.m., Speak Your Mind with our I Speak program na sasagot sa mga tanong regarding the latest and relevant issues sa paligid natin. I-like at i-follow nyo ang Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube para updated ka sa mga latest episode namin mga katribu.
You are still watching Tribune News on Q. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on Monday invoked rarely used emergency powers to bring an end to trucker-led protests against COVID health rules after police arrested 11 people with a cache of firearms blocking a border crossing with the United States. It marked only the second time in Canadian history such powers have been invoked in peacetime and came as hundreds of big rigs still clogged the streets of the capital Ottawa, as well as 2 border crossings. The Prime Minister said the military would not be deployed at this stage, but that authorities would be granted more powers to arrest protesters and seize their trucks in order to clear blockades, as well as ban funding of the protests. As the threat of violence lingered, federal police said they arrested 11 protesters with rifles, handguns, body armor, and ammunition at the border between Coates, Alberta, and Sweetgrass, Montana, just a day after another key U.S.-Canada border crossing was cleared in Ontario. The protests by Canadian truckers and their supporters opposed to mandatory coronavirus vaccines and pushing a wider anti-establishment agenda have triggered copycat movements from France to New Zealand, with U.S. truckers mulling similar rallies. Under pressure to act, Trudeau on Sunday convened a special federal response group on efforts to end the occupation of Ottawa and the remaining economically damaging blockades of border crossings in Alberta and Manitoba. And that wraps up the stories this morning. But before we go, we would like to thank the following: the SM Store, Araneta City, Department of Tourism, MG Motors, Hina Motors, Security Bank, Empire East Land Holdings Incorporated, and Overseas Community Affairs Council member Alan Lin of Republic of China for their continued support. Again, this is Venice Bautista, and you are watching Tribune News on Q. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay at home. Good morning.
Catch the latest news on our website, tribune.net.ph. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune Now, Download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store for iOS and Google Play for Android to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune invites you to join its vibrant community, Katribu, to get updates on the hottest news on politics, business, sports, lifestyle, and entertainment. Emoticons of the Tribune mascot Tarsito are available on our community Viber.